Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing also a slightly different video. This is going to be more of an informational video for people wanting to get a job on a cruise ship, because I know this sort of video would have helped me so much. So we're talking all things getting your cruise medical on today's video. Firstly, I would like to preface this that I am discussing this from the background as an Australian. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I have got a job on a cruise ship for Royal Caribbean based in Asia. That's where my background is going to be discussing it from. I'm sure it would be different if you live in other countries, but pretty sure from my research I couldn't find any information or videos on this whole process for Australians in particular. I am trying to help you all out. First question I have here is, what even is a cruise medical? A cruise ship medical, from my understanding, is like a doctor's appointment where you go in and they just check a ton of things on you that could hint to there being potential diseases or illnesses that might make you not suitable for working on board or for the job that they have you signed up for. For Royal Caribbean, I believe there's two types of cruise medicals, and the one that I was requested to get was a PEEM, which stands for Pre-Employment Medical Examination, I believe. So make sure you know which type your company wants particularly before you go, because they are pricey and you do have to pay for it yourself. Second question, when do I need to get a cruise medical? As soon as you get your letter saying that you are in the talent pool, it gives you access on the My RCL website to see the sort of documents that you're going to need to get done. And one of the ones is cruise medical, but that's all it says when you're at that stage of the process. And so what I would advise is, do not get your cruise medical until you have a ship assignment as well. So even though it says you can get it done, it's a whole lot easier once you've got your ship assignment, because once you have your ship assignment, it then allows you to see a list of all the providers that are approved by Royal Caribbean to get your medical done with, as well as it gives you access to, it's called Form A, a form that you have to complete before you go and do your medical. Because if you do it before then, you're not actually registered in that system and you're not able to complete that form prior to your medical. Wait until you have your ship assignment, and then it will make a lot more sense on the My RCL website. Where do you get your cruise ship medical? Well, if you've waited until you got your ship assignment, there should be a drop-down menu that you can click on to see all the pre-approved providers from Royal Caribbean as to where you can get your medical. So for me, living in Sydney, Australia, there was only one physical place, and it's Darlinghurst Medical Centre. What do I need to do to prepare for my cruise medical? I would say, first things first, make sure you have Form A done as soon as possible. Secondly, make sure you have your appointment date put into the My RCL so that they know you are on track to get your medical soon. And make sure you bring your ID with you, at least in Sydney, when you go to get the medical done. What was my experience? First things first, I identified that I needed to get it done at Darlinghurst Medical Centre. And if you go on the website, it says you either need to call up or email this number if you want a cruise or Royal Caribbean shipping medical. I called up, but they literally just told me to email the address that was there. So don't bother calling up. Look at the email. I believe it's like cpn dot something else. That email address will link you to, it was a lady called Christine when I did it. She will then organize or give you a link to book in specifically for the shipping medical, which is a different thing than what you can access on the normal hot doc or doctor's booking for the medical center. For me, I know, once again, this is currently talking at the start of 2025, they only offered to do shipping medicals on Wednesdays. So make sure you have a Wednesday free if you're Sydney based, because if they don't offer it on other days, you're going to have to make it work, which I did. It was a very busy day, but we made it work. For getting there, personally, it was easiest to get the train into King's Cross Station, and the medical centre is probably less than a 5-minute walk from the King's Cross train station. If you are walking from the King's Cross train station and you keep walking past the medical centre, there's a nice little cafe if you're super early, which I would advise be super on time. It's very stressful if you're late for this, because this is one of the big things riding on you getting to keep your contract. From there, I just went in, make sure to tell them you're there for a cruise ship medical, because that's on a different system to their other bookings, and they will print out a bunch of forms and they will also take your payment. You do have to pay for the cruise medical yourself. It cost me $650, as well as having to pay for a chest x-ray on top of that. I believe it lasts me the next 2 years before I have to get it redone. So it will last if I chose to do another contract after this for that contract as well. Once I'd paid and they'd given me some forms, they told me to go and sit, and Christine, the person that I'd been emailing, came and checked basic things like my height, my weight, colorblind testing, my eyesight, and then we went and she put on these little electrodes on my chest to test my heart, which I'd never had done. Then I went and had a meeting with the actual GP, who checked things like my reflexes, checked my teeth, checked my ears, checked my eyes, checked a lot of things. I will say the 3 things that they look out for particularly, or apparently send a lot of people home from Royal Caribbean ships, is varicose veins, flat feet, and hemorrhoids. So those are the 3 things they were sure to check for. So that does mean they do check your butt for hemorrhoids, and there were 2 sensitive tests, being the hemorrhoids test and for females boobs, just to check there's no lumps or anything. So do prepare yourself for that. If you want to get that done at your personal GP, that is also an option, but I didn't really care. Once the GP is happy with everything, they will then give you a referral to get a blood test and a chest x-ray. Now, if you're doing it at Darlinghurst Medical Centre, as part of that medical centre, they have somewhere to test your blood and get the chest x-ray. That first stage of getting the GP appointment and just the nurse checking various things, that takes about half an hour, but you then have to queue up and wait for the chest x-ray and the blood test, which could take a lot longer. I then went and got the chest x-ray done, which is just here down to check your lungs, and then got the blood test done. I would say personally, if you are accounting for how long this takes, at least put an hour aside for this. To be safe, I would put an hour and a half aside, just in case it takes a long time to get through the blood test and the chest x-ray. Now, after you get all that testing done, they say you can go home and they'll have a look at the results. If it's all good, you'll get an email with your medical certificate that you need to then sign. If not, they will tell you what to do. So I think 2 days after my medical, I got an email saying that some of my blood test results were out of the desired range, and that just meant I had to go and get a blood test done again. So I went the next day. They did advise before the blood test, 2 to 3 days beforehand, no exercising, eating a low-fat diet, because that might have affected my results. So if you want to do that before your initial medical and maybe hopefully save time of having to go for the second blood test, little heads up there. I went and got the second blood test, and the next day after that I had gotten the all clear. They just emailed through my final medical. I signed that off and emailed it back and uploaded it to the Royal Caribbean website, which has now been approved. That was my experience getting a cruise ship medical. I think the key takeaways that I would like you guys to remember: look into booking your cruise ship medical only after you've got your ship assignment. Make sure you are eating healthy the few days before you go for your medical, as well as not exercising counterintuitively, so that your blood test has the best shot at being within the range that they want. Make sure you set aside at least an hour, ideally an hour and a half, for this appointment, because while the initial consultation they'll say only takes 30 minutes, having to go get the referral and the scans and the blood tests is highly dependent on how busy it is, and that is something you have to do afterwards. And be prepared to fork out a fair bit of money. It costs $650 plus a chest x-ray, which was about $60. I did anticipate that. A lot of the videos do warn you that cruise medicals are expensive, and I was prepared. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you found it informative. If you guys have any other questions about onboarding for a cruise ship job, feel free to comment them below. I'm not the most knowledgeable about this yet because I clearly haven't gotten on board. I'm currently doing the onboarding processes, but I would be happy to try and help, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!